We all know that the station's got a brand. And to a lot of people, that brand is as simple as the logo, the colors, stuff like that. But the individual talent, each person has a brand. And that might be hard to understand, but it might start with just your photo and your name. But as you are active online, everything you do builds your personal brand as to who you are, what you represent. And you have to keep that in mind in social media. And your brand might be a little different than your employer's brand, and there's nothing wrong with that, but just understand you have a brand. It will become what you represent. And you have to keep this in mind when you do anything online. As you get more followers, more Facebook likes, more Twitter followers, whatever social network you're active on, the more you start posting, you are starting to be an authority. You're going to have a follower that's going to look up to you and is going to be interested in what you think and what you say. That's where your brand starts really coming to life, because they're going to trust you. And that's what you hope happens, is you've developed a trust with your audience. It's going to become what you're known for. And this is really important. Social media is a reality show when you get right down to it. People are following you. They want to see what's going on in your life. They want to know what's happening. They want to know what you think. And that's great. But you need to understand right from the get-go what your boundaries are going to be for you as a person, and what those boundaries are for your employer, because they may set down boundaries what you can and cannot do as well. So I encourage you to make sure you understand what those are. But I'm going to kind of talk more towards you as the person. What are your boundaries? And a great example is, one of my clients is the musician Greg Kinn. And he loves being active online. And from day one when I was working with him, I said, what are your limits? What won't you post? He said, there's only one thing. My daughter doesn't want me to talk about her. That's fine. As a social media person, I'm not going to get mad that you won't talk about that. I'm more interested in knowing right up front where you will draw the line, so I can make sure you never cross that line. So you know to never cross that line. Because if you don't understand your boundaries, I guarantee eventually you will arrive at a situation where you accidentally made a post where you're like, oh, I don't think I really wanted to say that. And it's too late. You've posted it. You can delete a tweet, you can delete everything, but we all know it's not gone. It's there. Somebody's already seen it, somebody's already screen captured, whatever it might be. Know what your boundaries are before that happens, and the chances of you crossing that line are going to be much smaller, and you're not going to put yourself into that awkward situation. But once you know those boundaries, go for it. Push yourself. Post anything you want. People want to see that. Show everything. Talk about it all. You understand where you want to draw the line. Your listeners, your followers, your fans, it's up to them. I always say it's not your job to censor what they're going to see. They can go somewhere else if they don't like it. Be yourself. You need to be yourself on social media. It's very easy to follow somebody where after a while you're like, I really don't think they're being a real person. This isn't really who they are. It feels a little too corporate, too planned out. They're not talking like a real person. And that's one of the things that's so important about social media is you just need to talk like you're sitting down next to somebody, and that's the conversation that's happening. Be aware of what you say, but be honest, be real. And like I said, open it all up. Open everything up. Don't be... One of the things clients would always say is, but I don't want to post what I had for breakfast or what I had for lunch. Nobody cares about that. Well, They actually might, but if you're comfortable posting it, don't question it. Go ahead, post whatever that is, because you're hoping to create a connection with the people online. And that connection can come from something as simple as, I didn't realize you love to barbecue as well. And me as a listener, I'm a big barbecue nut. And this is great that you love it as well. Now I can post some questions and talk to you about that. And that's the connection you're hoping to make. If I asked everybody in here to make a post that would be guaranteed to engage with your listeners, could you do that? Do you know exactly what you could put down that would get a stream of comments, a ton of shares, a bunch of likes? Hopefully you do, because that's really important. But what it proves is that engagement and interaction is what social media lives and breathes. That's what's behind everything. And I like to advise people to use what I call the 80-20 rule. So 80% of what you post online really should have no selling to it. It's not about the next concert, this album release, buy a t-shirt, do this, whatever. 80% should just be about personality, the person. 20% can be business related. And where that becomes a challenge for people is if they only make 10 posts a week and only 2 of those posts can be about selling, that's not giving you a lot of room to promote. So you need to open up and start posting more. The more you post, the more opportunity you're going to have to also promote if you follow an 80-20 rule. But you need to know your audience. And what I mean by that is you really have to understand what buttons push them. When you post something, is it going to get an emotional connection to them? Are they going to want to share their stories in the comments? Are they going to want to share this post that you just made with a comment on their feed saying, this is so amazing. I remember this when I was a kid, or I went to this event. You need to pay attention to what works and what doesn't work when it comes to social media. If there's no comments, there's no likes, there's no shares, whatever you posted, that didn't work. Even if that was something you loved, the numbers don't lie. Nobody liked it. Find what works, and there's plenty of analytics that Facebook and Twitter provide that will tell you exactly what works and what doesn't work. Was it a good photo? Was it a bad video? Was it a great text post? How many shares did it get? It will give you so much data that you can just sit here and go, these 3 posts, never do that type of stuff again. These 4 posts exploded. All right, I need more like that. And as you start doing this more and more and more, you will just know your audience, hopefully so well, that if it's a slow day and you need to get some action going online, you know exactly what kind of post you can make that's going to get them talking. And you're going to just sit back, and you know what? It's a good feeling when you can do that, because you kind of sit back and you smile and go, you know, this is great. I can get my audience engaging amongst themselves just by making a great post.